Okay, good morning everyone. We're going to get started with the presentation. So if you're all able to bring up the slide pack that I sent out yesterday, we'll start off with the slide presentations.
Has joined the conference.
So a quick look at the agenda. There'll be a quick welcome from me, an overview of DASA, an overview of the competition. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a quick introduction from the team. My name's Rachel Colling, I'm the delivery lead from DASA.
So I'm Lieutenant Colonel Richard Craig. I am the Army Headquarters lead on robotics and autonomous systems and effectively the frontline sponsor for this DASA call.
Good morning everybody, Pete Stockel from DSTL, Innovation Autonomy Challenge Lead and the DSTL Technical Lead for the MUMT and AWE19 activity.
Thank you. A few housekeeping points for today. First of all, please keep your lines on mute if possible, and if that's not possible, please keep the background noise to a minimum. If you could keep all questions for the end of the presentations, and do remember that questions at the end are open forum. So I'll start off with an overview of DASA. So starting with our mission statement, our mission is to find and fund exploitable innovations to support UK defence and security quickly and effectively and support UK prosperity. So our core services are covered by our objectives. So we're looking to reach out and find ideas and opportunities by engaging widely to build networks with external organisations, private sector, academics and individuals, working with individuals and organisations you've not previously worked with, defence and security. We're looking to fund and support SMEs, industry and academics to develop their ideas in partnership with frontline stakeholders into workable demonstrators, products and services. We're looking to work with defence and security stakeholders to exploit the best ideas, products and services in order to transfer them onto the operational frontline and develop broader commercial and export potential. And we're looking to work collaboratively to form partnerships that coordinate and complement existing activity and avoid any duplication to enhance the overall innovation ecosystem. And we're looking to experiment with novel methodology and approaches in order to facilitate as wide a range of proposals as possible in order to find the best solutions. So our scope is that we're looking for any level of development, any science, technology or service, anyone with a good idea, and any exploitation pathway. So look at the DASA operating model. On the left there you'll see the wide range of people we have submitting proposals into DASA. The outreach team, we've got the innovation partners, which I'll mention later. Development, we've got a number of ways in which you can bid into DASA, and they're listed below. And then we've got different options for exploitation and implementation for successful bidders on contract. And then along the right-hand side, you'll see the different stakeholders that we work with who will be looking to exploit your work. So why would you want to bid into DASA? We offer 100% funding, there's no match funding required. We've got a cross-government focus, and we're a simple and easy way to access defence and security for anyone who hasn't bid in before. We offer rapid contracting. For anyone that's bid into DASA previously, it's worth noting that this is a different contract from the short form contract we've used previously, but the focus is still on rapid contracting. And we have access to end users and technical advice. We offer benevolent terms and conditions. No equity is required, all intellectual property stays with you. And we work with you to exploit your idea once you're on contract. And to help with that, we have events during competitions that bring together government, end users, private sector and academia. And finally, we're always open for ideas. So the next slide is a map of the Innovation Partner Network. Our innovation partners are based regionally, and they're looking for suppliers locally that may not have bid into defence and security before, but might have something relevant that we could use. The innovation partners can also give you guidance on submitting a proposal. So if you do want to be put in touch with your local innovation partner, you can send an email to the Accelerator account, which is on the final slide. So a quick look at how we work. We've got 2 teams working within operations. There's the open call, which is continuously open and has a supplier push, and then the theme challenges, which this competition falls under, which has a customer pull. And a quick look at some of the recent theme calls that have been run. There's point of care diagnostics and market exploration, get the ship in shape with the Royal Navy, joint effort with materials team in DSTL and with NGTF in Australia, knife crime with the Home Office, wearable technology with the Army, and improving crowd resilience with the Home Office. And a quick overview of how the open call team work. So they're continuously open, looking for new concepts, products or services that might have a defence and security application. And there are 2 streams within that, the emerging innovations and the rapid innovations. So emerging is looking at very early stage, projects lasting between 3 and 10 months, and projects costing between 50 and 100,000. And then rapid is a higher end, looking to make an impact within a roughly 3-year time frame. And then the next slide is a quick look at some of the customers that we've worked with. So it gives you an idea of the people that might be looking at your proposal and getting view of your work. And so I'll give you an overview of the assessment criteria. When a proposal is submitted into a competition, we assign 3 assessors, or subject matter experts, to assess the proposal. And they're looking in 3 key areas. It's worth noting that they're all equally weighted. So desirability, does it have strategic fit? Is there an end user pull? So is it wanted or needed? And what's the compatibility with defence and security? Feasibility, does it have technical credibility? What level of innovation and risk is there? And what's the expertise and capability of the team? And then finally, viability. So that's looking at project delivery, exploitation beyond the project plan, and the cost and value for money. And then the next slide is a look at the flow of the competition. So this competition is launched, and we're now open for proposals to be submitted. So you could go along and register for a Salesforce account if you haven't already, and then you can draft the proposal. You can keep logging in until you're happy with that, and then that will close on the 18th of June at midday. So from there it'll go into the assessment stage I mentioned previously. The 3 assessors will submit their assessments, and then the moderators will look at those 3 assessments, pull together any conflicting opinions, and give an overall recommendation. That recommendation is then taken to the decision conference, where we look at the top scoring ideas and the range of ideas that have been submitted. And from there, the commercial team place contracts. And so I'm now going to hand over to Richard for an overview of the competition.
So good morning everybody. I'll give an overview of the competition, but before I do that, what I want to do is situate why we've got this competition going on, and to do that I'm going to talk briefly about the Army's RAS capability spotlight, give a very short overview of what we're doing right now, talk about how we can exploit this, and moving on to the forward, quick overview of 19 and 20, then go into the RAS roadmap and AWE 19 in detail. I'm doing this because I recognise that a number of the companies who are on this conference call either are new to my knowledge or have not been involved with us for a little while, and so this will bring people up to speed and hopefully give you an understanding as to why we're doing this competition now. So the first question which you have to ask, and I get asked this all the time, is why is robotics and autonomous systems important to the Army? The slide on there gives you a whole load of reasons, but really the main reason, and the thing which is driving us very hard at the moment, is that our potential adversaries think it's important. And by that, I can be fairly blunt and say that our potential adversary is Russia. And you'll see at the bottom of the slide, the bottom picture there is the Uran 9. It's a Russian unmanned ground vehicle carrying a cannon and missiles. That is one example of many other areas. One area the Russians are pushing on is unmanned air systems. They have an awful lot of unmanned systems. They've got about 2,000 alone in Syria. And one of the things they are exploring is how do the humans and these robots interact. It's an area that they are not particularly good at. And so it's an area that we in the UK think that we can get potential advantage over them. So that's why. We're then looking at some of the overview of some of the projects and programs that are already in space as part of the spotlight. Most of these are DSTL already, and many of you will be aware of these. So first of all is Stratus, which is using multiple UAVs to conduct persistent surveillance in an urban area. We're on to the second phase of this particular project with a large consortium with some demonstrations towards the back end of this year. Then move across to fractionated delivery of integrated effects, a bit of a snappy title, I know. However, on this one, this is looking at using multiple low-cost UAVs to try and replicate the effect of what we would normally do with a very expensive platform and very expensive sensors. The interesting point about this one is controlling those multiple UAVs from one controller. This again has some level of crossover to what we want to do or want to explore with this competition. Bottom left-hand side, coalition assured autonomous resupply. Many of you are familiar with this particular competition. Again, in its phase 2 at the moment with 5 consortiums. A little bit of stuff with the Americans with leader-follower manned trucks. But then what was called the automated last mile resupply, it's now the joint tactical autonomous resupply and replenishment. That is looking at radically changing the way we do logistics resupply with a mixture of unmanned ground vehicles and unmanned air vehicles, moving fully autonomously and tasked by a highly automated logistics supply system, IS system. Moving towards the end of phase 2 in August, we, the Army and DSTL, are working together how we will take that through into a phase 3. Bottom right hand corner, very much Army focused, Army Warfighting Experiment 18, Autonomous Warrior Land, large exercise that we carried out in November, December last year, got quite a lot of press. We experimented with a lot of robots and a lot of UAVs and a lot of UGVs. And as a result of that, we have learned quite a lot about this, and that's why we're now trying to answer the remaining questions. So that's a very quick overview of what we're looking at in the RAS Spotlight. Moving on. So Autonomous Warrior Land said 47 different industrial partners, over 70 different actual systems, and we spent 4 weeks on Salisbury Plain in the rain, the snow and the wind, learning how these systems can generate benefit for us. It gained a lot of attention, both internally, so we were able to brief the then Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, and also CGS and CDS and various others, and has generated a huge amount of interest amongst senior officers in the Army. They really do see RAS as an ability for us to increase the lethality, increase the protection of our forces. So there is a big push to move on with this. So some of the exploitation pathways there. You will see that the first one is Army Warfighting Experiment 19, manned-unmanned teaming. That has developed into this competition for semi-autonomous reconnaissance vehicles. You will also see this tagged, as well as that title, as Army Warfighting Experiment 19. So please don't get confused, they are one and the same thing. I won't go into the background as to why we're doing it this way, but we are also moving towards Army Warfighting Experiment 20. There is, and I will mention this now, there is the potential for confusion here. So this is tagged as Army Warfighting Experiment 19. The demonstration, however, will take place in 2020. It is Army Warfighting Experiment 20 will also take place in 2020, so there will be a level of potential confusion there. It's all to do with financial years. So the demonstration for AWE 19 will be in March 20, so in the financial year 1920. AWE 20 will take place in September, October, so in the next financial year. So hopefully that clears that up, because I know that has caused some confusion in some parts already. We're also looking then to exploit through information sharing, into exercise sustainable warrior, and then into a mixture of technical demonstrators and various other areas. All of this is feeding what the Americans would call programs of record, but actual funded programs like the Light Tactical Mobility Platform program, Material Distribution Land 25. But in the case of this particular one, manned-unmanned teaming, we are feeding two particular requirements. One is the new attack helicopter, the Apache AH-64 Echo, and the other one is the Ajax program. So we do have a pull-through for this particular experiment. Moving on, quick overview of the two Army warfighting experiments. 19, manned-unmanned teaming. As you have seen from the competition document, we're looking at both air systems and ground systems. So that is a human in an air platform, a helicopter in other words, humans in a manned platform, so that will be an armoured vehicle, controlling either an air platform, an unmanned air platform, or an unmanned ground platform. And I'll come on to exactly what we're coming on to in a minute. We want to accelerate the technical feasibility, but the main purpose of what we want to look at is the cognitive burden on either the co-pilot or the commander of the armoured vehicle. That is the primary purpose of this experiment, because although we have done some of this manned-unmanned teaming in the virtual environment, we haven't actually done it in the physical environment. And we do have some level of concern that the cognitive burden might be excessive. As we said, it's through the Defence and Security Accelerator, and we obviously launched. Army Warfighting Experiment 2020, we're looking at agile command, control and communications. We are at the purpose at the moment of developing the top level question set for that. It will be run, this particular experiment will be run through the DNS Tech Office, and the launch is imminent in the next couple of weeks. The RAS roadmap. So this is a long-term roadmap which the Army seeks to try and inform industry as to where we're actually developing. It's not defined by dates as far as the pathways are concerned, but there's four particular areas. The first area is what we call additive assistance. So this is where RAS can assist the human, and it can assist the human in a manned platform. So it might be as simple as a navigation aid that can work in a GPS-denied environment, or lane departure warnings. So not particularly high, difficult technology, but things which can be introduced into service very quickly. The next area is manned-unmanned teaming. So this is obviously very pertinent to this competition, and we are looking very much to see where we can increase our mass and increase our dispersion by a manned platform controlling one or more unmanned platforms. Specifically, we're looking at that at the moment in the ISTAR in the surveillance aspect, so where a manned platform can control one or more unmanned surveillance platforms, allowing those manned platforms to stay in a place of safety where the unmanned platforms move forward into areas of higher risk. We're then looking at autonomy appliques, where we can take our existing platforms and add autonomy to them. Particularly pertinent in on the land, but we are looking to some degree at the air as well. And then finally, systems designed from autonomy from the outset. We recognise the fact that some of our platforms, particularly our armoured platforms, aren't going to be replaced in any time soon. So where can we actually add autonomy to some of those platforms where it adds operational advantage? The Army Warfighting Experiment 2019, a little bit more depth. So we've got two basic challenges. One is air-based, one's ground-based. And I've said before, in each case, we're looking at an unmanned asset being controlled from a manned platform. So, in short, on the air side, we're looking from the control of an unmanned air system from the front seat of a manned helicopter. In the competition document, we indicate that we will be in a position to provide as government-furnished equipment a Gazelle, but that is a surrogate platform for where we want to go for in the end, which is the Apache AH-64E. So like I said, that is controlled from the front seat. So we are not concerned if there has to be equipment in the back seat of the helicopter, but we are not looking at controlling the UAV from the back seat of the helicopter with an additional operator. We were very much looking at that co-pilot controlling that unmanned air system and what loading that does on the person. Second challenge is looking at a system capable of being deployed from a suitable armoured platform. In the competition document, we indicate that we will provide as government-furnished equipment a Warrior. That is a surrogate vehicle for an Ajax platform, so our new reconnaissance platform. And again, we're looking at the control of either an unmanned air system or an unmanned ground vehicle. We don't mind which one of those two it is. We're looking at that being controlled from the commander's station of that platform. Again, looking at the cognitive burden on the commander. In this case, not so much the control, but actually the burden of the feed from that platform. So from the pictures or the video or whatever it actually is. So as I said, what we want to test, the primary concern is the measurement of the cognitive burden. So thus we're looking, the emphasis will be placed when we look at your proposals on the user interface and the levels of automation on the unmanned air system or unmanned ground vehicle, but also on the sensor suites on that platform. So one way you could reduce cognitive burden would to be have some level of image recognition, for example, so that the system only alerts the commander or the co-pilot when it sees something of interest. So moving on to the next slide, demonstration. We want to see a practical demonstration of your proposal. So we're not interested in proposals that are virtual proposals or paper studies or academic studies. It needs to be something which you can demonstrate practically. So you need to be prepared to attend AWE 19 for 5 days plus an additional day. And out of that 6-day period, we'll be looking at a workable demonstration of your solution for 2 days. Then additionally, there'll be attendance at AWE for a visitor's day, potentially in addition to those days, and then there'll be a pre-demonstration event. And I'll stress again that we want to see a practical demonstration. So end-to-end demonstration. So if you have, as a company, a very good unmanned air system or a very good unmanned ground vehicle, but you have no way of getting that information to the front seat of a pilot, of a helicopter or the commander's station, or you have a good comms link but no actual physical platform, or you have a good image recognition system but no platform, you will need to work with other companies so you can put your proposal a full end-to-end system.